The dogs have been dogging in 2024. We've had 11 fight cards. In 7 of those main events, underdogs have won. Chris Curtis is a 2-1 underdog. Chris Curtis has already knocked out Brendan Allen. Can Chris Curtis become the 8th underdog to win in 2024? My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to give you my bets for UFC Vegas 90. But before I do, let me give you $50. The only thing you need to do is go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and we send you $50 as a thank you. It's affiliate marketing. They're going to pay me, and I'm going to slice off some of that money and give it right back to you. wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50. You can then take those $50 and become a premium member. Premium membership is only $10, so you still got $40. Premium membership is going to give you not only all of our bets, all of our picks, but also tools and insight. This isn't just some slap together Patreon with a list of 11 bets. You're going to get tools, insight, breakdowns, optimizers, and more. One of those tools is the line movement tracker. This is going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card so you can hop on or hop off a train as it is moving. You're also going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics, 38 columns of information that you can use. I specifically like to use this for some of the prop bets. On Fridays, DraftKings, BetOnline, and some others drop significant strike line prop bets, takedown prop bets, and all of that data is right here for you to check out instantly to say, well, I don't know why Norma Dumont has a 45 significant strike line when she's only landed 45 significant strikes twice. And Jermaine Durandamy gets hit with way fewer than that. Boom, play the under when that prop bet drops. Either way, all of this and so much more, only $10 for an entire month. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. UFC 300 is next week. That $10 is going to get you this week, next week, UFC Vegas 91, and it's an entire month, damn it. Let's go ahead and talk about this card. So I will open this up by saying I feel like every single favorite on this card is the better fighter in their matchup. Every favorite on this card, I think, is the better overall fighter. There are still some underdogs that I picked to win because ultimately styles make fights. But every favorite, I feel, is the better, more well-rounded fighter. And we'll break this down in a little more detail. My most confident favorite on this entire card is Walter Walker. This is a similar situation to last week where Nursultan Ruzaboyev was by far my most confident favorite. And it had to do with 2 things. Nursultan was a nasty wrestler. I thought Nursultan was good. And I thought SD Dumas absolutely sucked. This is a similar situation. Walter Walker is Johnny Walker's younger but much larger brother. The guy is a Brazilian who has lived in Russia for I don't know how many years, and he fights like a Russian. He's a giant Brazilian tanned Dagestani. He comes forward, his striking is not great, and then he wrestles his ass off. We have seen his opponent, Lucas Bresky, get ragdolled. Carl Williams ragdolled him in the wrestling. Walter Walker is much larger and a better wrestler. Walter Walker will have no issues here. The fact that his line is tightening makes absolutely no sense to me. The exact same thing happened last week with SD Dumas and Nursultan. Obviously, there was an eye poke in that fight, but it was very clear, even leading up to the eye poke, that Nursultan was just the better fighter. We are going to have that situation here. Walter Walker is not in the safety parlay because I don't throw UFC debuts in the safety parlay, but he is my most confident pick on this card. Minus 225. I think what's going to happen, though, is after weigh-ins, I think that line is going to start to go back the other way because people are going to see just how absolutely tremendous this guy is. Oh, and he's a great wrestler. Melissa Mullins. You guys hate when we pick women's MMA for confident picks and bets and things like that, but Melissa Mullins should absolutely win this fight. Her opponent has 0 takedown defense whatsoever. Melissa Mullins can work in takedowns. She's also insanely durable, as we saw in her last fight. So this should be, honestly, a pretty straightforward fight for her. Should be a pretty straightforward win. If you're watching this and you have your SportsBook app up, you might see her listed as Melissa Dixon. It is the same person. And then we have Alex Morono. Alex Morono is a tough guy to be confident in. He's very inconsistent. He will have an occasional fight where he forgets how to fight. But he's an insanely high-level jiu-jitsu guy. He's got very good striking, good power, good movement. He doesn't use his wrestling as much as you would like, but he shiz. I was going to say he should be, and he is. So he shiz the better overall fighter. I think he's going to be faster. I think he's going to have the better technique. He's certainly going to have the better jiu-jitsu. The only concern in this matchup would be if he gets taken down. Obviously, he's got better jiu-jitsu, but it's 2024. Subbing people off your back isn't really something that happens that often anymore, at least not at this level. Alex Morono should win. Solid underdog. So I open this by saying I think every favorite is the actual better fighter in their matchup. With that being said, there are some good stylistic matchups. Dan Argueta, for example. He's not the better, more well-rounded fighter. Jean Matsumoto is a better striker, a very good wrestler, good grappler, all of those things. But Dan is tough, Dan is durable, and Dan can just come forward with a non-stop wrestling game plan. Jean hasn't been tested, or Jean hasn't been tested yet. It's his UFC debut. He's either going to show up looking like a Peyton Talbot, just absolutely phenomenal, well-rounded, or he's going to get exposed like Stephen Wynn did. I think Dan Argueta is a solid underdog because he has a very straightforward, very dependable game plan of come forward and wrestle. Damon Jackson is another good dog that I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about. This week, the two most popular underdogs are by far Trevor Peek and Chepe Mariscal. Like by far. You can't find a person in this space that isn't talking about them as good underdogs. But Damon Jackson is quietly, I think, one of, if not the best underdog on this card. First of all, the greatest hair transplant I have ever seen. The glow up that guy has had in the last 6 months is astonishing. It's astonishing. He went from looking like he was 56 years old to looking like Paulie D. It's absolutely insane what they were able to do on that guy's head. And good for him. And I might DM him for his doctor's name. With that being said, he's a good grappler. He'll come forward. He'll be long, rangy, lanky, heavy. He'll get you to the ground. And his nickname, he changed it from the leech. He should have just kept it as the leech because he latches onto you like a leech. He will grind. He will hold you there. It is impossible to get up from this guy. He is fighting a more talented fighter. Alex Hernandez is the better fighter in this matchup. He's the better overall striker. He has his own good wrestling. But Alexander Hernandez is A, undependable, and 2, B, cutting down to 145 pounds for the second time in a row. Didn't go well for him last time. I don't know how it's going to go for him this time. Make sure you watch the Minty Bets weigh-in recap. Minty is on our channel, makes a video every single week. She watches all the weigh-ins, and then she recaps them for you. Who looked good, who looked bad, all the things that happened. Alexander Hernandez is absolutely somebody that we need to keep a close eye on. So Minty will let us know later today when that video drops how Alex looked because he's kind of too big for 145 pounds and he's going to get sucked out. Is it going to make his chin weird? Is he weird as in weak? Is it going to slow him down? Is he not going to have the same speed? Is he not going to have the cardio? All of those are factors. We'll see what he looks like at the weigh-ins. I like Damon Jackson. Chris Curtis, how he could not be listed as a dog is insane to me. So he's listed as a dog. He already knocked out Brendan Allen. These guys fought. They fought. And he knocked them out cold. And Chris Curtis is a very good striker. Chris Curtis has a very good takedown defense. And if for some reason Brendan Allen is like trying to prove a point, I'm going to get this back, I'm going to show him I'm the better striker, he may have a tough night. Now, I don't have a bet on Chris Curtis because Chris Curtis is also a bit undependable. He's not a guy that you can trust to constantly move forward and push a pace and stay in your face. He likes to wait. He wants you to come to him. He can be low volume. He can back up, and then he'll make excuses. Chris Curtis is a bit iffy, but he has already knocked out Brendan Allen. We know he can do it. So that's the first thing. We know he's a very good striker. That's the second thing. We know he has very good takedown defense. That's the third thing. And I think Brendan Allen needs to get this to the ground to win. So I think Chris Curtis is a good dog. And then finally, Chepe Mariscal. Chepe's not the better fighter in this matchup. Don't get yourself confused. Don't convince yourself that Chepe is the better fighter in that matchup because he's not. Morgan Charrier is a very good, very well-rounded fighter. He's the more dangerous fighter. He's the faster fighter. He's the more technical fighter. But Chepe's a dog who can come forward, work in some of that high-level wrestling, and just grind his way to a win. So again, all the favorites, in my opinion, are the better fighters here. But we get guys like Chepe who can make something happen. Trevor Peek is not on this list, and I'll tell you why. He sucks. He doesn't have fight skills. Trevor Peek is not a good fighter. What he is a savage animal with an insane chin that will not quit, but he's not a good fighter. And my bets reflect that. We got Trevor Peek. I have 2 bets with Trevor Peek in there. I'm not money lining that guy. He, in all likelihood, loses this fight. He shouldn't win. He's not the better fighter. But I do love the over 1.5 rounds for 2 reasons. One, you can't finish Trevor Peek. And I'm giving him a hard time about his actual skill set. But what he does have is something that you can't learn, something that you can't earn. He's a dog. He has no quit in him whatsoever. He has an insane chin. You can crack that guy. He basically has Marvin Vettori's chin on a little body. You cannot put this guy's lights out. And Charlie Campbell's a technical striker that's going to try to stay on the outside, try to slow down the pace. Trevor Peek's just going to march forward, try to close the distance. And I think we get over 1.5 rounds, and I got phenomenal odds on that at plus 165. The reason I think we get over 1.5 rounds is because I think Trevor Peek can't be finished. So even if Charlie's having plenty of success, Trevor Peek will be there. And then the other bet I have is Trevor Peek win inside the distance decision, no action. All that says is if Trevor Peek goes to a decision, win or lose, I get a full refund. But if he finishes Charlie Campbell, I get paid out at plus 135. The only way I lose money is if Trevor Peek gets finished, and I just do not see that happening. Then we got Alex Morono and Valter Walker. Pretty confident in that parlay. The only reason that's not the safety parlay, frankly, is because Valter Walker is a UFC debut, and I think we've learned our lesson doing this for a little while that you don't parlay UFC debuts and call it safe. Valter Walker should dominate his opponent. Alex Morono should dominate his opponent. Minus 138. Those are honestly solid odds. For this, I put 1 unit on that. Then I added this parlay. I told myself, don't look at your bets, think you don't have enough, and then just add a random bet. I did that last week. I look at all my bets. I'm like, that's not enough. And then I added a bet. That bet didn't go well for me last week. And I basically did that today with Melissa Mullins and Ignacio Bahamondes. With that being said, they should both win. Now, it's only a half a unit parlay, and Ignacio is the side I'm worried about, not Melissa. Ignacio's takedown defense failed him in his last fight, and if it fails him in this fight, we got problems. So only a half a unit on that, but I do think that hits. Ignacio's the better fighter in that matchup. The much better fighter in that matchup. He has to survive some chaotic striking, make sure he doesn't get taken down. Melissa Mullins, same thing. Has to work in the takedowns, avoid some chaotic striking. She should be good. And then I have the safety parlay. The safety parlay did miss last week, but overall, the safety parlay is very stable. It hits at a 68 or 69% average. I had a 9-fight safety parlay win streak just a little while ago. I gave you 2 safety parlays for UFC 299. Safety parlay overall is very solid, dependable. Minus 140 this week. I am pretty confident in that. I have 3.5 units on the board. If all the stars align, obviously this Trevor Peek situation, one of these bets is going to lose or one of them is going to refund. So that one, for all these stars to align, for me to get paid out at 6.79 units, I would need Trevor Peek to finish Charlie Campbell later than the halfway point of the second round. So in all likelihood, that bet is a refund. But either way, these are my bets. I am pretty confident in these. Here's a quick look at Jacob. Jacob's underdog lock of the week is Cynthia Calvillo, and you guys hate that. I see the comments. You guys hate it. Everybody is furious pissed that Jacob went with A female, and B, somebody on a 5-fight losing streak. But she is his lock of the week, and his lock of the week quietly is 2-1 in the last 3 events. He's squeezing these things together. He's sneaking out some quiet wins. Last week, he had Manon Ferrot, and that was a very dominant lock of the week. Cynthia Calvillo is his lock of the week. I don't necessarily agree with it, but he's the dog king. And then he has another teaser bet here. He's got 6 total units on the board, but one of these other bets that he's got going is the main event over 2.5 rounds. Frankly, that's actually a decent bet. I think that should be good. The only reason it didn't go that long the first time is because Chris Curtis knocked out Brendan Allen pretty early. But this should go a little longer. Even if Brendan Allen dominates, this should go a little longer. Chris Curtis is very durable. He's got good takedown defense. I think this is a solid bet, minus 120. If you want to check out the rest of Jacob's bets, just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. It's freaking $10 for an entire month. That was like a Donald Dollars. I don't know why I did it like that. It's $10 for an entire month. We got UFC 300 next week, UFC Vegas 91 after that, It's a whole freaking month, $2.50 a week. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member at the top. And very quickly, if you want to take my actual money, if you want to take Jacob's actual money, go to BetOpenly. BetOpenly is peer-to-peer betting, human to human. It's not a sports book. It's not you versus DraftKings. It's not you versus BetOnline. It's you versus another human being. In this case, you can take Jacob's actual money. If you bet the other side of his lock of the week, if you bet on Pereira Rodriguez and you win, you take Jacob's literal money from his pocket. Him and I have a $300 bet on Dan Argueta and Jun Matsumoto. I hope I don't lose that bet. But if I win, I have his actual money in my pocket. If he wins, he has my actual money in his pocket. And that's why you're going to get the best possible odds with BetOpenly. They don't care if you win or lose. They're not trying to beat you. They're just trying to facilitate as many bets as humanly possible. They take a 1% transaction fee, and that's how they make their money. Where a sports book like a DraftKings, they need to beat you. If you beat them every single week, they lose money. That's not BetOpenly's business plan. They're all about volume and transactions. Check them out. You can go to WeWantPicks.com/BetOpenly or just go to BetOpenly.com, sign up, get yourself some of the best odds in the business, and don't forget about the $50. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50 as a thank you.